What up, folks? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, and this is a Sports Plus Life Quickie. Sorta, kinda. Because I'm about to break some stuff down. I'm just sitting here watching these sports analysts talk about the concern of the NFL and perhaps with the Hall of Fame game being canceled, that maybe that could spell trouble because of the coronavirus. But anyway, first of all, let me make one thing clear. Nobody gives a shit about the Hall of Fame game. I mean, honestly. You get to see maybe the first stringers for a drive, maybe two at most, and then the rest is a bunch of people who, 3/4 of them not even going to be there the next week, or at least the next 2 weeks. So, but, okay, if football wants to be put in a bubble, there are ways that this can be done, okay? And Brandon Brevon Towns, is going to break down a way that it would work. Now look, the fact of totally, I don't know if there's something that can totally eradicate, people as far as exposing themselves out in the public as far as the NFL is concerned, like, the NBA. I mean, first of all, the NBA couldn't have put their bubble in a worse place like Florida, which is like now the epicenter between that and damn Texas. But, okay, but let me get down to brass taxes here. What you do is you have divisional bubbles, basically a divisional base. There are 8 divisions in the NFL. You have one base stadium per division. And that city is where the 4 teams from that division could stay at. Now, follow me on this. You would preferably want to have each division bubble or division base preferably to be a dome. That works for 6 of the 8 divisions. That does not work for the AFC East. That does not work for the AFC North. Okay? Because the AFC East, the Patriots, Jets, Bills, and Dolphins all have outdoor stadiums. In the AFC North, the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, and Browns all have outdoor stadiums. So this is what we can do as far as that goes. And I will give you my personal opinion on where each division bubble should be at. So, AFC West, I just said you got the Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, and Bills. You're not having no division bubble in Miami. That's totally out the question. So for those 2 divisions without domes, you go with the division champion. So in the AFC East, your division base would be in New England. It would be in Foxborough. Okay. And then in the AFC North, your division base could be in Baltimore. All right. So now we move on to the AFC South, where the AFC South has 2 teams that plays in domes. The Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, and then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. So you have 2 domes. You go ahead and you put your division, your AFC South division bubble in the state of Houston. Excuse me, the city of Houston. My bad. Nice dome. Even though the Colts dome is more up to date, Houston did win the division, so they could be the home base. And then for the AFC West, you have a brand new stadium in Vegas where you have the Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers. You got a brand new stadium in Vegas. Enough said. It's dome. So now we go to the NFC side. You start with the NFC East. You got the Cowboys, Redskins, Giants, and Eagles. Only one team has a dome. It would be in Dallas. That's where your base would be at. It would be in Dallas. For the NFC North, you have 2 teams with domes. You got the Vikings with a dome, you got the Lions with a dome, and then you have the Packers and the Bears. So obviously, I would just say go ahead and put it at US Bank Stadium, newer stadium. That could be the home base for the NFC North. In the NFC South, every damn body has a dome except for the Panthers. You have the Falcons, the Saints, I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm wrong, because the Buccaneers don't have a dome. But you have the Falcons, the Saints, the Buccaneers, and the Carolina Panthers. The Atlanta Falcons, their Mercedes-Benz Stadium was just open, 2 years ago? There's your NFC South base. And then finally, the NFC West, where you have the 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals. You have it in Arizona. And what that does, so each division, with those bases, the 4 teams from each division would be stationed in that city. Now, what would you do about road games, mind you? What this would do was literally cut each team in the NFL's travel from 8 games a year to 5, because obviously you have, the division games, they'll all be played in that one stadium. Because think about it, you have 8 home games, 8 road games, and then 3 of those road games are against the teams that are in your division, so you won't have to travel. So that way you'd be playing in the same stadium at least 11 games out the year. And then, of course, when you have, let's just say the Broncos have to play the Falcons. So the Broncos would have to leave from Vegas, which would be their home base, to go to Atlanta, because the Falcons would just happen to be the NFC South home base. So on and so forth. But you would only travel 5 times a year. And if you had a scheduling conflict, let's say, well, hey, what if you have 3 teams from the same division playing home games at the same time? Well, then you just have to reschedule some games. You could add another game to the 4:30 slot window, and even if you had to, you could add another game to Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. It's a way that you could be creative. You'd even have more football on during the week, and you would have less of a risk of exposing these players to COVID without being in some big bubble like the NBA is going to be in Orlando, because that's impossible with over 2,000 players, and that's not even counting the coaching staffs for each team. But that could work. You'd have 8 quote-unquote bubbles or bases throughout the NFL. And each team would have essentially 11 games where they would play in the same stadium and just travel 5. Travel for 5 games. Now, as far as playoff go, I would do playoffs the same format. Not as with the bubble, but I would just do the same old regular format for the playoffs. Because you think about it, you're only playing X amount of games anyway. I would do it like that. I mean, trust me, man, this could work. I'm going to tweet this shit to ESPN, to the NFL. I'm going to tweet this because, trust me, this can actually work. Okay, because I understand Malcolm Jenkins' concern, what he was saying on CNN about football being a non-essential business. Well, I mean, that's the truth. That is the cold, hard truth. But also the cold, hard truth is you'll have NFL owners and players that'll say, okay, fine, then Malcolm Jenkins, you just don't play. So the NFL is going to keep it moving until they are absolutely forced to stop. But this is a way where people could be more comfortable and saying, hey, if we do it this way, this could possibly work. This is something that could work. So, I hope you guys listen. This has been a Sports Plus Life quickie, sort of. It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns. I'll be getting at you real soon with another podcast, because we got some things to talk about. We got to talk about Bubba Wallace. We got to talk about now all of a sudden the hesitancy of starting the NBA season back up. We got to talk about all of that. Peace.